Good morning, everyone. I do apologize. We had some real technical difficulties this morning, but nevertheless, we're here. Greetings. I am James Rayner, a professor in the Department of Biological and Forensic Sciences at Fayetteville State, and I am your host for the 11th Annual Valeria Fleming Professional Roundup. Welcome. Who is Dr. Fleming? And why do we celebrate her legacy? Dr. Fleming is known by her family as a strong Black woman who is passionate about education and a very family-oriented individual. And if you were to ask anyone who knows her from academia, they will tell you that Dr. Fleming provided more than 54 years of excellence in teaching, scholarship, and service to Fayetteville State University and the state of North Carolina. She has an outstanding record of being the first of many notable achievements, including being the first Black woman to complete a PhD in zoology at UNC Chapel Hill. She also became the first female provost at Fayetteville State. She became the first of many to write grants and to get funding to improve and expand the scientific curricula in our department, especially in biotechnology. Dr. Fleming taught, mentored, and inspired many generations of students and faculty in their lifelong pursuit of success. Some of these individuals you will hear from today. To honor the legacy of Dr. Fleming, many years of dedication and contributions to education, the event today is so named the Dr. Valeria Fleming Professional Roundup. The Professional Roundup is an annual event that showcases FSU STEM alumni who are in their professional careers and those who are currently pursuing advanced degrees in STEM fields. So students, please take advantage of this opportunity to ask questions to the alumni panel and ask them about their milestones and journey from Fayetteville State into their current careers. Also take advantage of the opportunity to Bronco Network. We are so happy to have members of Dr. Valeria Fleming's family to join us today on this momentous occasion. Unfortunately, Dr. Fleming could not attend the event today, but she will receive a copy of the recording. I thank her son, Kenneth, and other members of the family for being with us today. And Kenneth, please keep us connected with your family and her friends. By now, you know the answer to my question, who is Dr. Fleming and why do we celebrate her legacy? Because Dr. Fleming is a legendary icon in STEM who cracked the glass ceiling where many have said that she couldn't do so. And now, because of her hard labor, future generations will benefit. So now we will have greetings from the Provost's office and the Department of Biological and Forensic Sciences.
Good morning. My name is Sam Adu Mreku. I'm the Interim Associate Vice Chancellor for Academic Affairs in the Office of the Provost. Dr. Leach, our Provost, unfortunately could not be here. She had a pre-planned out-of-town meeting, and so she sends her greetings and her regret, but trust me, she's promised that she'll be here next year. I know this event will be held next year, so she'll be here. So on behalf of Dr. Leach, and also the Chancellor Allison, I extend to all of you warm greetings this morning. For alumni, it's good to be back home, even though the home is virtual, but it's still home nonetheless. As a university, events like this, helps us to recognize these contributions of individuals who have served this university for many years. And for Dr. Fleming, her distinguished achievements in the area of scholarship, teaching, and mentorship is evident, in the number of alumni and students that have assembled this morning. As I was watching the slideshow, I could not help but be so proud of all her achievements. And so we certainly celebrate this occasion and thank her for all her service. On a personal note, I always will remember the support and the pieces of advice that I received from Dr. Fleming when I served as the Dean of the College of Arts and Sciences. Her office was just a floor above my office, and occasionally she would step by my office and check on me and see, how are you doing? He called me young man, how are you doing? And I always appreciated her pieces of advice. So it's a significant occasion for which the university is most grateful. And I cannot end by thanking Dr. Rayner for year after year putting this event together. You need dedicated individuals like Dr. Rayner to organize, to contact participants, and to put such a important event together. Also for the Department of Biological and Forensic Sciences and the College of the Health, Science, and Technology. So again, on behalf of the Provost and the Chancellor, I extend again warm welcome to all of you. I'm looking forward to a very fruitful and engaging event this morning. I will hopefully stay through the end of the program. And again, thank you, Dr. Rayner, for bringing us together this morning.
Thank you. Dr. White.
So happy Saturday, everyone. Thank you for joining us. I am Erin White, and I serve as the Associate Dean for the College of Health Sciences and Technology. So on behalf of myself and Dr. Arn, who is Dean of the college, thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing with us today. It is my hope that your words, your story, your journey resonates with and encourages those that are with us on today, that they glean from you. So again, thank you. We appreciate your time. And thank you, Dr. Rayner, for continuing the legacy of Dr. Fleming by having a program such as this that celebrates her and celebrates those students in STEM, those Black and brown students in STEM that have gone on to be successful and make their mark in the field. So thank you.
Thank you, Dr. White. And next, we will have an inspiration selection by Dr. Denise Payton, followed by the introduction of the alumni panel. Dr. Payton could not be with us today, but she sent me a short video of her singing a song that she felt that would be inspirational and depict Dr. Fleming's life journey of achieving things that many said that she could not. And it's called The River. But the underlying theme of the song is, this river will never be uncrossable for me. So please bear with me as I pull together this video.
Yes. Oh, Tracy, we're gonna take some pictures. Nicole? Yeah. How are you? How are you doing? You can have a seat. I'll be right with the both of you, okay? What she did. Okay, she was doing it on the iPad. Okay.
We thank Dr. Payton for that beautiful selection. And I don't know about you, but I've had plenty of rivers to run through my life. And I'm certain that Dr. Fleming, because of her hard work and efforts, she crossed many of those bridges and those rivers that people said that she couldn't. And today we are here to celebrate that honor, that achievement. So next we'll have the introduction of the alumni panel. I do apologize. A lot of the students that were sent the link, we had difficulty with the link. So I know students, once they find a reason that something doesn't work or they can get out of something, they use that option. But this is a very good program. I always encourage the faculty to send the students out because this is phenomenal. I wish I had things like that programs like this when I was in undergrad. So we're gonna go on and get the introductions of the panel, and I'm gonna just let them randomly introduce themselves, just give their name, give your name, when you graduated and what you're doing now. You may begin.
Good morning, everyone. I'll go ahead and start. Welcome to all the guests here, and thank you, Dr. Rayner, for hosting this annual event. I'm glad to participate. My name is Danielle Graham, and I'm an assistant professor in the Department of Biological and Forensic Science. I also serve as the assistant chair. I graduated in 2011. I went on to get my PhD in microbiology, and I did a postdoc at UNC Chapel Hill, and now I'm back serving Fayetteville State in the department, and I'm happy to be here.
I will go next. Good morning, Broncos. My name is Dr. Andre Whitehead. I came to the United States from Jamaica. Shortly before attending Fayetteville State, I was introduced to Fayetteville State by my late aunt, who is also an alumna. I was awarded the Chancellor Scholarship and the NASA Scholarship, the latter for which Dr. Rayner was my advisor. I graduated in the year 2000, moved on to the Pennsylvania College of Optometry, from which I graduated in 2004. I currently practice in Atlanta, Georgia, and I work on a mobile eye clinic that services school-age children, giving them eye exams and eyeglasses, and those individuals are in underprivileged areas. Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
I will go. Good morning, everyone. I'm not sure if you can hear me. I think my mic is active. My name is Anthony Nettie Marvell. I'm a graduate from 2001. I actually graduated in December of 2001 from Fayetteville State. I went on to UNC Chapel Hill School of Dentistry. and got my DDS. And so I am an active dentist in the Cary, North Carolina area. We have 2 practices in the area. We serve families. We've been here for about 7 years. I've been an active dentist for about 16 years. While I was at Fayetteville State, Dr. Rayner was a strong mentor for me and many of the students there. We had a wonderful time, and I think because of that connection, we still all are here supporting Dr. Rayner and appreciating all his efforts and giving back. I have mentees that I meet with, and actually spoke with one before this meeting, and he extended himself to be a mentor to anyone who is listening who desires a career in dentistry. And so please reach out to me if you have that desire, and I can get you in contact with him, and he's there in the Fayetteville area. So Dr. Rayner, thank you for bringing us all together. I appreciate you.
You're welcome.
I'll go next. Can you all hear me? Good. Okay, my name is Davisha Worrell. I graduated from FSU in 2016, and I went on to Augusta University to get my master's in clinical laboratory science. After that, I just worked in several clinical laboratories, and right now I'm the microbiology supervisor at Piedmont, Atlanta. This program really introduced me to that field and a lot of career opportunities. So I'll just harp on what everyone else is saying. This is a wonderful thing that you're doing, Dr. Rayner, because I honestly had no idea about this career path until just going on the FSU RISE trips with Dr. Rayner. I remember I told him I wanted my PhD in microbiology. I told him that in one of his seminar classes, and he took me on to FSU RISE, and that really helped propel my career and get me to where I am today. So thank you.
Hello, everyone. I'll go next. My name is Shayna McCaskill. I graduated from Fayetteville State University in December 2012 with a biology degree and a chemistry minor. I went on to Augusta University as well and got my master's in clinical laboratory science. And I am currently the technical specialist of routine hematology at Grady Memorial Hospital, right down the road from Piedmont. So that's really cool. But yeah, the RISE program did a lot for me. It gave me a lot of mentors to kind of guide me to where I am. So I'm very thankful.
Guess I'll go next. I'm Dr. Timothy Jesse. I am a general surgeon. I currently am in Fort Wayne, Indiana. For all of you who don't know where that is I'm about 3.5 hours east of Chicago. And so nice place. I'll be seeing Chicago in about 2 weeks. So I'm looking forward to that. And so I went to Fayetteville State University from 91 to 95. I was a Chancellor Scholar while I was there, majored in biology, a minor in chemistry, concentration in pre-med. I then went to East Carolina School of Medicine, or now the Brody School of Medicine at East Carolina from 95 to 99. That's where I met my wife. Best thing happened to me, and she was a year behind me. And so in 99, I then went and did a general surgery residency in Akron, Ohio. And so from 99 to 2004. And so I went back and did a fellowship up in the Baltimore area from 2012, 2013 in minimally invasive surgery, bariatric surgery. Currently, again, I'm in Fort Wayne. I'm at the Veterans Hospital here. Let's see, I've been here 6.5 years now in Fort Wayne. And so it's been good. Again, the general surgery profession is a rough profession to get into, but certainly it's been very worthwhile for me. And just going back to FSU, I would say, the people who were my mentors when I was here, of course, Dr. Fleming, we had Dr. Bell, Dr. Murthy, Dr. Higgins, Dr. Waddell, and of course the late Dr. Ganguly, who I did a few research things with her, organic chemistry. And so I enjoyed my time at Fayetteville State, and it's been participating in these. I think I would participate in the first one way back when. And so it's been interesting to see the different alumni who have come to join the meetings and to see what everyone is doing. I agree. I agree with you, Dr. Rayner, that when I was a student, to have had this would have been very interesting to see just all the different stuff that's available out there in the field. And it's been very interesting to see if I would have continued to be a doctor, or maybe I go and do some forensic science, all these different things. It's very interesting. And so hopefully the current students will log in and get to, again, just get the broad breadth of what everyone's doing here. I think it's very impressive for our school.
Okay, well, I'll go next. Excuse me. My name is Stephanie Price. I'm a military dentist, and I graduated from FSU in 2009 and went on to UNC School of Dentistry. And so I used the military to pay for my dental school. I was actually a transfer student, so I previously graduated and then was in the military and then went back to school. And I'm very grateful, as everyone said, for Fayetteville State. It's such a wonderful school. And the faculty is so uniquely committed to the students compared to other universities I've been to. And it's really made a huge difference in my life in terms of the level of achievement that I've allowed myself to pursue that I probably wouldn't have if I hadn't had the experience with Dr. Rayner. He really challenged me to reach the higher levels. And in the military, I completed a AEGD, which is an advanced dental residency program. And that's taught me a lot. And like everyone here, I'm very happy to mentor anyone who's interested in going into the military or going into dentistry. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I don't know why my camera just cut out. Okay. My name is Dr. Mitsan Edmond, and I am originally from Trinidad. I came to FSU as a Chancellor Scholar, and I graduated in 2003. I was able to work under Dr. Rayner in the lab as a tutor for microbiology, and was pretty active in the science club. So he was very influential in my journey in the science field. And I was able to meet a couple of people on the call. So good to see some familiar faces. I did end up going into dentistry also. So I do have a practice in Mount Vernon, New York. That was started in 2019. So glad to be here. I can't make it in person, tried over the years, but at least I'm here virtually. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Larry Porti. I think I'm probably the oldest of the group at this point. I graduated with Dr. Rayner. We did all 4 years together at Fayetteville State, graduated in 1989. Right now, I'm a clinical research consultant. I do new drug study and device study submissions to the FDA for different sponsors within the pharmaceutical industry. My time at Fayetteville State, was one of the best experiences of my life. What it provided me was the opportunity to work with other like-minded individuals, such as Dr. Rayner. When we were there, our whole plan was to set up study groups, and we use these study groups to get through the entire program. With that being said, welcome Barclays.
Well, I guess I'll go next. Good morning, everyone. My name is Julio Morales. I am originally from Cuba. About the age of 9, we were all fed up with the regime in Cuba, and we fled the country on a raft. Arrived in Miami, Florida, lived in Miami ever since until I graduated high school. I joined the military. I was stationed here in Bragg. After getting out of the military, I went to Fayetteville State. I graduated Fayetteville State back in 2013. I went to East Carolina School of Dental Medicine for my DMD. I graduated back in 2018, and I currently practice here in Fayetteville. I was actually a student that went through this seminar back in maybe either 2012 or 2013. So I do recognize some of these faces. I think Dr. Jesse was there in person. It's a great thing that with Dr. Rayner still continuing on from Dr. Fleming to have this seminar for the students. I thank Dr. Rayner for being my mentor during those years here at Fayetteville State. He definitely made a huge impact in my decision-making and what I did with my career. So thank you very much.
Hello, everyone. Michael Smith. So I graduated from Fayetteville State with a Bachelor of Science in Chemistry in 2007. I then went to North Carolina State where I did a PhD in biochemistry. And I actually, after I got done with my PhD, I came back to Fayetteville State for about a year, some change, and worked there in the chemistry department, did some program kind of leadership as well as taught chemistry classes before my final destination where I am now, which is at Virginia Commonwealth University, where I'm an assistant professor in the chemistry department. And so half of my job now is to teach, and so I teach in all things biochemistry related. And then the other half of my job is community outreach. And so I get to do a lot of fun things like bringing high school students to the chemistry department for the summer to do research for the entire summer and paying them, of course. We go to elementary schools for the spring and we do science experiments the entire spring that's directly related to their science integrate testing. So that's always a lot of fun. So I get to do a lot of cool things like that where I kind of marry my love of science and my love of the community as well.
All right, I'll go next. My name is Dr. Nicole Joyner-Powell. I am a physician. I graduated from Fayetteville State University also with Dr. Smith there in 2007. And I graduated with a biology degree and a chemistry degree. I then went on to University of North Carolina at Greensboro, and I got a master's in biology and did a dissertation. And then I eventually went on to medical school at Ohio University, Heritage College of Osteopathic Medicine. And I finished my residency in family medicine, and I'm currently practicing at a federally qualified healthcare center here in South Carolina.
Okay, I think you were the last one. Thank you guys for giving us that introduction. And now we don't have many students present, but I would like those students to ask questions, but I'm going to start off by asking the panel a question to respond to. I will make sure that these students see this video. It's going to be published in many ways, in which they're going to be able to access this video and see the responses that you all are giving. So I'm going to ask the question from the panel. What would you recommend to these current FSU students to help them succeed in college and pursue a professional career? What advice would you give them? And then we'll let other students come in and ask questions as well.
So I would like to say.
Go ahead.
Okay. I would like to say that it's very apparent here that many of the panelists that are on today speak about mentorship. I think the value of mentorship is really important. It's going to help guide you and help and assist you along your way. So for the students, I recommend that you reach out to faculty members, people in your community, people in your family, and ask them for assistance in mentorship, because those relationships continue to last for years and years to come, as we can see here. Like many of my panelists here, Dr. Rayner and Dr. Fleming both served as mentors along with Dr. White. And so I continue to engage with them and build on the relationship that we have. And so I think that's one of the most important, is having somebody in your corner that can help guide you along the way, that had those experiences and can help point you in the right direction. So that would be my recommendation.
Thank you.
Yeah, I would definitely echo those sentiments. I was going to say, utilizes the resources that are presented to you. As Dr. Price said, I think the professors at Fayetteville State are some of the most engaging that you will ever encounter in your life. They are there to help you. Utilize the resources, utilize them. And the Bronco family is a huge family, and everybody is always willing to help each other. So.
But also surround yourself with like-minded individuals. That will be one of the keys for your success. If you're all moving in the same direction, you can all pull each other along. You can strengthen each and everyone's background, especially if everyone is of like mind.
I would say don't be afraid to pursue something that's your passion. And there's a lot of pressure, especially as a young person, to choose a profession because of some sort of status, or because you're going to make a certain amount of money or something like that. And if you're doing it for those reasons, it's harder to be successful than when you choose something that may not be mainstream. It may be very unique. But if it's your passion, you'll be really successful at it. So do not be scared to pursue something that you really love.
You know, Dr. Price, I actually didn't know what the salary of a dentist was until I got almost through dental school. And so it was something that I just wanted to do, and I was passionate about. I'm so impressed just at the acumen and just the achievements of this panel. You know, and every time I get around all of you, I'm just blown away. And you know, some of these titles I didn't even know existed, and which is amazing. And so I would say to the students now, you know, don't be scared to just open yourself up to some of these new opportunities. You know, it may not be something that you have knowledge about or interested in, but if Dr. Rayner has a trip or something else is going on, just expose yourself to it. You don't have to have it all figured out right now. There's so many opportunities out there. I mean, I'm hearing some of these titles and I'm like, man, can I go back to school for some of this stuff now? It just sounds impressive. And so, you know, just expose yourself and don't limit your options, for sure.
I think there's plenty of things to be said. Things that come to mind, I will say definitely mentorship. Don't let anybody put a label on you. You are the person that can only do that to yourself. Be sure, you know, be persistent. You have to work hard. If you do those things, you know what you are, you can achieve whatever you want. I think that's one of the most important things for me. When I was coming up, I sometimes I had doubts. Mentorship helped me to get rid of those. I worked hard and I accomplished what I was set out to do. I think that's very important.
I would add, you know, set specific goals for yourself. You know, if you want to do something, make a plan. Like I had a college roommate, she was really good. She planned out her whole semester, her courses. So that helped me. I'm like, oh, you know, you pick the best professors, you know, you're gonna have some tough professors. Maybe you don't go that route. So make things easier for yourself. Set up goal, you know, whatever you want to do in a year at the end of college. If you want to be, like they said, following your passion, you want a specific career. What do I need to do to get there? Ask a senior, ask somebody who is in the field, shadow, do all these programs that will help you see what you need to do. You know, we did some shadowing. I was able to see like dentists, pharmacists, like all these programs, SCP, I forget the names of all of them, but they really helped give me a game plan for where I wanted to go. Dr. Whitehead, he was a senior when I was there. I was like, this guy is, you know, valedictorian. This guy is doing so many things. And, you know, I modeled myself to really try and aim high. So just have a game plan.
Students, please chime in to ask questions at any time.
As far as the students, as far as everyone talked about mentorship, and that is very, very important. And like everyone else, I'll echo their sentiments. Fayetteville State was it was nice to have a smaller school where you didn't feel like you were a number, like you were just one person sitting in a massive auditorium, and that people cared. And so I can say all of the professors that I had cared about me doing well, and they all cared about us representing, going forward in whatever capacity, whatever role professionally, and representing the school very well. They wanted us to do well. And so if we do well, the school does well as a consequence. I would say the students need to be opportunistic. You know, there are going to be multiple different types of trips, programs, things that are going to come available to you. And so like when I was finishing my freshman year, I applied to the NIA had a program up in their Baltimore campus and to do some research. And so again, I didn't have a fixed idea of what I wanted to do. So I went up, I lived in Baltimore for pretty much all summer, stayed with a family of one of the, I forget what the lady's role was. I think she was a secretary for someone who ran the program. And so they let me stay in one of their guest rooms. And so I was in Baltimore working in a research lab, assisting a postdoc. We were doing erythrocyte research and all this sorts of stuff. And so I'm getting to do some research, getting kind of my feet wet in that, just to kind of see what that's about. She also, Mrs. Hughes, Barbara Hughes, introduced me to a book, Gifted Hands by Ben Carson, and taught me a bit about him. And so that kind of got me interested in the medical field. And, you know, you never know where the inspiration is going to come from. And so I did well with that. The next summer, I think it was that summer, there's a program at Meharry in Nashville, a biomedical science program, where they have people who are interested in possibly going into medical school. They have you up for the summer, you stay over at Fisk University. And so it was very important. We did some coursework just to kind of give you an idea of, you know, what you're going to be doing. We got to do some rotations. I got to spend some time in the hospital helping one of the obstetricians. Got to help out with the delivery, and I actually got to deliver the afterbirth. And so, so again, here I am, rising. I can't remember if I was a rising junior or what, but I'm getting to participate in the birth, and so again, I'm just getting more and more kind of experience and interest in going into the medical field. There was also another program during the school year at FSU where they took some of us up to East Carolina to the medical school, and we got to visit with some of the students there. They got to kind of show us around, tell us about their experience, kind of their backgrounds as well. And so again, you just got to be opportunistic. And Dr. Ganguly, rest her soul, I was involved with organic research with her. One summer I spent doing research, and we I don't know how big our library there is now as far as science, but we spent one day a week going up to Chapel Hill to their chemistry library, where we'd look up all the articles we wanted to find, and then we'd spend that time finding those articles, copying those things. Of course, everything's easier now with the internet. And then we would come back. And so we built our we got our basis for our research projects, and then we would do that research, and then we would be able to present those things. And so I got to present on campus. I got to go up to, I think it's Union University up in Schenectady, New York, got to do a presentation up there. And so again, you get all these different experiences and you get to figure out what your interests are. Do you want to get a master's? Do you want to do a PhD? Which I thought about quite a bit. Do you want to be an MD? Of course, I wasn't worried about it, but you could be a physician assistant. You could be a nurse practitioner. Again, if you go into nursing, you could later become a nurse anesthetist from that background. So there are a lot of different things you can do in the medical field if that's what you want to do. And of course, again, there's all the stuff affiliated with master's and PhD. So again, you just got to be opportunistic. Students have got to be curious and don't have a set thing you want to do as soon as you walk in the door at FSU. Again, keep it broad, and that way you're going to find something that works the best for you and something that you can have some longevity with. So just remember, you're going to be doing this most likely, whatever you pick, for a few decades. So again, pick something that you have a high interest level in, something you feel like you can do well, and that will pay off for you. You don't want to burn out, 10 years and be done, or discover as you're pretty deep into a residency, let's say that, man, I really don't like this at all. And then have to go and do another residency in something else. So again, just stay broad, be opportunistic, and that will bode well for you.
Yes, alumni panel, I want you to continue responding to that question, but I also want to throw in another question that you also can respond to. I want you to reflect on your experiences with Dr. Fleming and tell students, how did Dr. Fleming influence your success?
I'll go ahead and go. So I actually used to work directly for Dr. Fleming. And honestly, I don't remember how we met, but I was in need of some money, which I'm sure most students can understand. And she had just gotten a grant. I mean, she was getting so many grants, and I don't know where she had the time to get all these proposals out for these grants, but she was definitely an advocate for expanding our opportunities and getting grants and sharing that with students and building their CV and experiences. And so she started a computer lab and made me the, I guess, the lab attendant. A side note, I have no computer knowledge, skill, or background whatsoever. I defer to Apple products because you turn them on and they work. And so I don't have any of that experience. So I was basically just sitting there as I was being paid. She also got another grant for a biotech course to train students in how to do biotech testing. And so we were running electrophoresis gels and doing experiments. So she made me the lab tech. And again, my resume for that experience was limited to 0 experience. And she hired me for that. And our interactions were limited, but I enjoyed it because she basically would give me a task and then she would just go on to the next thing and come back, and her checking on the results or auditing what task she had given was brief. It was basically, how's it going? Oh, it's going great. Okay. And then she was gone. And so she was definitely a results-oriented woman and a great professor to be around in terms of just sharing opportunities. I'll tell you another funny story. I was studying for an exam in her course. Was it animal development? I believe it was the course. It was the course that we all not to take anything away from you, Dr. Rayner, because your courses were serious and brought some fire too. But the animal development course, I stayed up and studied all night, which is something I am not good at doing. I've done it twice in my entire academic career. Both times were disastrous. So her course was the second time I had done it. And we sat down for the exam, and they were all essay exams. And I had a complete brain lock. I mean, sweating, panic attack. I could not think to write down the answers on this piece of paper. And I just sat there and sat there and sat there. These exams were, I mean, over an hour, which was something that was new to me, in an essay format. And I sat there for about 25 minutes. Paper was blank, my name on it. I got up to go turn the paper in. She grabbed the paper as the first one. She grabbed the paper, looked at me, and completely embarrassed me in front of the whole class and said, "Go back and sit down and do this again." And for some reason, the sheer embarrassment jolted my memory to go back and figure out what I was supposed to write. And I was the last one to leave, but I passed that exam, and that was the interaction. She never talked about it again, never brought it up again, never said anything. So she knew how to gauge people and give them what they needed to succeed and give them that step in that hand. And I mean, for her to have the discernment to just know that from those little brief interactions, I think was amazing.
I'll go next. So I had Dr. Fleming for one course. I'm thinking it was animal development as well. And thinking back, the word that comes to mind for me, she is standard. She created a standard. So she kind of differed from some of my professors because they had very low standards for their students, and she had a very high standard for her students. And to me, when you create a standard for someone, that means that you care for them. And it kind of develops their work ethic and kind of changes them as a person and how they go about, you know, their coursework. So she changed that for me.
My experience is probably a little funnier. I think I was probably with Dr. Rayner in the hall laughing, and she actually came out and said, "Young man." So you know, so that was at that point I think I was probably a little afraid of her, just because she gave me that look to get me back in line. I didn't have her for a class while I was at Fayetteville State, but what she brought to the university was simply amazing. I mean, she inspired so many of the people that I actually had classes with, and definitely a blessing to the school.
So to put things in perspective with Larry and me, Dr. Fleming was provost at the time that Larry and I attended Fayetteville State. So during our undergraduate tenure, she was, in the provost's office, but she also served as department chair and assistant dean. And so she, went through several levels. And I would always remember how she would, speak at various programs. And Dr. Fleming, her voice just demand attention. And so, we had that different experience and not so much as being in her class. But next one.
Larry, I was scared of her too, just so you know. But Doc, what you said, I mean, she commanded excellence going back to, a point, and that's the level she operated on. If you dealt with Dr. Fleming, you stepped up to her level. She didn't come down to yours.
I would
have to
say,
be, go ahead.
I'll go. I don't think I had a class with Dr. Fleming either. I do remember she had a big presence, you know, there's no nonsense going around that lady. I did work in her lab, so I would interact with her again briefly, but you know, you had to do what you had to do. And she did give me a present on graduation, which I was surprised at, because you know, I didn't feel like we were super close, but I did work for her, and you know, I always saw her around campus. She is always doing whatever she did. I didn't know she was provost or any of that actually. So great woman, I'll say that. Yeah.
I took animal development during my last semester at Fayetteville State. I left that class for last on purpose because all I've heard from everyone I knew was that was a very difficult class. And so I just kept saying to myself, how difficult can it be? You know, how hard can it be? I mean, I've had plenty of, you know, quotation marks, hard professors, and I've passed the class with an A. How hard can this be? I went into that class and I will say that has been the most difficult class I have ever taken in my life. Not even dental school can compare to what I did in animal development. It was unbelievable how challenging that class was. There was a time where we did the labs, and I remember looking at the chick and the egg, and you know, there was a time frame for the lab, but you could leave early if you were done with your work. And I usually left a little earlier. I left the classroom a little earlier than some of the people, and because I've thought that I have always, you know, I've done my work and I was done. Dr. Fleming always looked at me with a face. You know, she was like, she kind of told me with her expression, I think, young man, you're leaving a little bit earlier than what you should be leaving. And you know, I thought I was an A student, and apparently I was not. And Dr. Fleming gave me a B, and you know, and from there on, I said, okay, you know, you need to reflect on yourself, and you need to work a little harder, because this shows you that you may think that you're good, but you're not that good as you think you are. So definitely she put my feet on the ground and make sure that I prepare myself to my next challenge with that class.
Just to piggyback off of what Dr. Anthony Nanny Barbell said, that Dr. Fleming had a standard, and you had to, of course, meet her at that standard. I recall not many days, but I recall times that students would normally leave after 10 minutes or 15 minutes if you have a PhD, but if Dr. Fleming was running late, I don't care if it was 30 minutes late, the students stayed. They did not leave that class. So there was a definite difference in the way that the students related to Dr. Fleming.
I guess I'll go next. So when I got to FSU, I think I had a class or two with Dr. Fleming, but I worked for her in her lab. The lab was just getting going, and I forget, there was a young lady who was also there who was a year or two ahead of me. So, you know, as a freshman, you know, kind of getting involved with that and doing some experiments, running some blots and all that kind of stuff. But as everyone is saying, you know, Dr. Fleming sets that standard. She is not playing around. I think over the years, I said the same thing, no nonsense. She and my mother had that in common. They did not tolerate foolishness, and they did not tolerate BS. It was very much, you know, here is the work for you, get it done. And, you know, if you get the work done, we won't have any problems. And so I always respected that about Dr. Fleming. And Later, this is several years ago when I was still in North Carolina, I actually talked with her a little bit, just getting some advice from her. I was thinking about doing some teaching, whether that was teaching PA students, or I was just trying to figure out a way to get involved with more teaching. And so she had some very good advice. I was talking with her about, adjunct positions, what pros, cons of adjunct positions, and that sort of thing. And she had some very good advice for me. And so I always appreciate that she had the time. Again, she's always seemed to be incredibly busy, but she had time for me, one of her old students, to give me some good advice, and I'll always respect her for doing that. A lot of people will blow you off, but again, that just goes with people at FSU. The professors care, and you get those relationships that carry on for years. And so FSU, it's a gift that keeps on giving.
Dr. Rayner, can you, oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead. I don't have much more to add because everybody's pretty much said everything. But on a personal note, I mean, she just had a presence about her. I don't think I ever remember hearing her yell or scream or even really raise her voice, but she was able to project and command attention. And like Dr. Morales, I waited until my very last semester to take that because legend had it that the animal development was the most difficult class. And yes, Dr. Rayner, kudos to you. You put us through our changes. But Dr. Fleming definitely was a very challenging class. I was used to writing essay questions coming from Jamaica, but it still didn't prepare me for Dr. Fleming. I mean, I literally took intro classes the last semester. I took intro to statistics, intro to computer science, just to make sure I had nothing else to distract me from doing animal development. And she literally was the last grade I got. And she was the grade that was going to determine whether or not I was going to get the 4.0 and become valedictorian. And when she told me that I got that A, I literally ran through the halls of Lion Science, jumping.
I want to give the students an opportunity to ask questions because we have a lot of good talent before them. Students, I'm sure you have something to ask. One of the things I will tell you about this that is recently developed with the students, they do not like to talk. They do not like to engage themselves. And I keep explaining to them that whenever you participate in class, that's active learning. When you learn passively, a lot of the information you do not get, it just goes over your head because you don't know if you're doing it right. You don't know if you know it. And so a lot of the students, we press upon them to talk, to be engaged, but they find it very difficult to ask questions in class. So students, I'm not here to embarrass you. I just want you to think of questions that you can ask because there's so much that you can ask. I also like to welcome Dr. Gooding.
Yes, sir.
You didn't get a chance to introduce yourself. Please introduce yourself. And we were talking about how Dr. Fleming has inspired students and how Dr. Fleming has influenced your life.
Yeah, good morning. I am 1985 grad of FSU and biology major, chemistry minor. And I think I had what I recall Dr. Fleming was the courses embryology and particularly cell biology. And so having Dr. Fleming in my background helped me put down the foundation that I needed to pursue a unique career in veterinary medicine. And I think when I met Dr. Fleming, I think at that time she was chairman maybe of the biology department. And she was always a very professional, very kind, respectful person. She would talk to a student in a way that she wasn't really putting you down, or she didn't really make you feel like you were a student, but it was more like a motherly role. And so I think in my career becoming a veterinarian, that was one of the unique opportunities I had to see a female biology professor who later went on to become a provost. And every step that she took was inspiring to me. And so I used that foundation to become a veterinarian. I attended the Veterinary College of Veterinary Medicine at the Ohio State University. And after I got my master's in biology at Hampton University. And with that foundation, I was able to do the things that I set out to do, which was totally different than the conventional medicine route that most of the kids were talking about when I was there. I think with that foundation I found when I got to Ohio State, I was unique in that I was the only Black in a class of 133. And coming from a little bitty small HBCU, I think that time Fayetteville State was probably about 2,500 students. I found out with all those kids that I was in a class with at Ohio State, I was one of the few that had a background in histology. I was one of the few that actually had taken cellular biology, and it shocked me, coming from HBCU, because you hear so many things about us not being prepared, or our academic, programs are not up to par, or don't put us in a position to compete. So whatever it ended up being at Fayetteville State University, I was able to lay that foundation to take advantage of the opportunities that were presented to me, and that were created through a lot of hard work and studying. And I became a veterinarian, and I'm currently the president and owner of Pembroke Animal Hospital in Hampton, Virginia. And I'm the only veterinarian there. I'm solo, and most days I actually have more work than I can do, but I'm in private practice veterinarian, but there are so many other opportunities I'd like to introduce your students to. Thank you.
Very good. Dr. Parker?
I think someone had to log off.
Good morning, everybody. Sorry for running late. Had a party in the ED. But I'm James Parker, fall 2010 graduate of biology, Fayetteville State University. I just graduated from East Carolina University School of Dental Medicine back in May of last year. And currently I'm in Charlotte doing hospital general practice residency in dentistry. My experience with Dr. Fleming, at the time, I wasn't the best student. I was good the first 8 weeks, and then afterwards, sometimes it kind of went downhill. But I always remember that Dr. Fleming would make you understand never to settle. And her classes weren't the easiest, but if you really put that effort into it, even if it wasn't a subject you were interested in, it was a lot to learn, just as far as her mannerisms, how to present, how to think with the end in mind, and not just look to answer a question, but think past it as far as, well, what next, or why, or, if it's something that you're learning and you don't really know what it is, just don't write it down just because your professor told you to write down. Take some time and really figure out what it is and what it means. And it goes a long way, especially if you're going to any kind of professional school, because it is a struggle, and it's you and a whole bunch of other people just trying to survive. And coming from HBCU, I really think for me, it really helped me understand how to embrace failure, in the sense that, I'm going to make mistakes. I'm not going to get everything right. I can either learn a lesson from it, or I can let it get me down and make me feel like I'm not good enough. And with other classmates that I had, when they were struggling with things, they would get frustrated. But for me, it wasn't a big deal. I've had this challenge before. So it's just kind of getting through it and making things easier for yourself. So for that, where I'm at now to, where I was when I was a scrawny 140-pound kid thinking I knew it all, I'm truly grateful.
Okay, so we'll resume our discussion on how Dr. Fleming influenced your success through college, as well as advice that you would give undergraduate students to succeed.
Dr. Rain, I wanted to answer the question about giving the students advice to succeed.
Okay.
I would say absorb everything. So in addition to mentorship, absorb everything that you possibly can, because you never know the information that you're getting at the moment. It may help you out long term. Like when it comes to resume writing with the ROTS program, I don't struggle with resume writing now. I know people who do. When it comes to presenting presentations, I go in with confidence and I can answer questions that's thrown at me. I don't struggle with giving presentations. Yeah, I lost my train of thought because it was a lot of background, sorry. But yeah, like absorb all the information that you possibly can at the moment, because you never know when you're going to need it in the future. So just because it seems like it's irrelevant or something to pass the time now, or pass the time, it could possibly benefit you in the future.
Very good.
I have a question.
Yes.
Can everyone hear me okay?
Yes.
So for those that did have Miss Fleming, do you guys think that her impact shaped you into the person that you are today? Or did her philosophies stay with you throughout your whole life?
Short answer is yes. Short answer is yes. You have to be, Dr. Fleming was very, again, she's no nonsense, very business. And I think, particularly if you're going to be in a professional role somewhere, you have to be that way. Certainly, if you're a brown or Black person in a professional area, you're going to probably, there's not going to be many of you in that arena. Certainly as a surgeon, if I go to meetings or if I'm in, in these sorts of things, I'm probably the only brown or Black person there. And so you want to comport yourself well. You want to, the old saying goes, you want to represent yourself very well, because it reflects on everybody. Maybe it shouldn't be that way, but it is. And so you want to carry yourself a certain way, be businesslike, get things done, drama-free. And again, I can follow all that back to Dr. Fleming and how she set the stage for that when I was a freshman at FSU.
I would have to agree that one experience in the hallway was enough to scare me half to death to always look over my shoulder and to always be professional, especially in the life science building. So sometimes it's the small things that will help you to focus and to pursue whatever goal that you set for yourself.
Yeah, those experiences help shape you as a student and a professional, and it's just a culmination of all these things. And I would have the same testament as the other panelists. Having a standard of professionalism is not something that you're born with. It's something that you observe and you build with your own interactions. And to see someone who consistently, I mean, and it's just echoed here, who consistently had the same standard and we're getting the same outcomes and experiences 20 years, 30 years, I'm not going to keep going there, but however many years later, is just a testament to those interactions, but also to the validity of your question. As a resounding yes, for sure, those things helped shape these wonderful people that are all here who've had the interaction and are astute professionals in their respective fields.
Again, we go back to the students. Thank you for that question. Are there any other questions from the student? Would tell the panel of students some of your challenges that you face in your education. What are some of the challenges that you face in your education?
I'll go. So I'm currently
Anaya, we might have to.
Yes, sir. I was talking, but yeah. Yes, sir. I was talking, but I heard somebody else say that they had wanted to say something. But I'll just go ahead. So I'm currently an early college student. So I don't go to FSU, but I take classes at FSU. And I'm currently taking Dr. Rayner's class. And it's a bit of a challenge for me because I'm not really a STEM major. But I also have a question. What advice would you give to someone like me who is kind of struggling and I'm not really, I don't really have the grade that I want quite yet. So like, what advice would you give to me to help me continue to, you know, push through? Because I know the semester is nearing an end and yeah.
Okay, good question.
Well, I'll say my experience. I think there's different learning styles for every person. So I think there's writer learners, like action learners doing. There's listening learners. There's speaking learners. And so you have to kind of find out what things really get the information into your head personally, and it's different for every person. So you have to try different techniques. That's worked for me. I think originally I thought I was a listener learner, and that doesn't work. I can't just listen to people. And I think some of the panelists talked about actively asking questions. Maybe that's a way that helps people learn, and it helps me learn. So that's my advice.
My advice to you would be to when we were undergrad, we had study groups. Again, like-minded individuals will be supportive of your ideas, your goals, and all of you are moving in the same direction. And you have an opportunity to bounce questions off of your classmates. You know, anyone that learns something or can teach something is usually able to explain it in 3 different ways. And that was one of the keys for learning when we were in undergrad. So set up a study group, find people that are moving in the same direction as you are, and I'm sure that will support you.
Yes, I think you're going to struggle at some point in time, no matter where you are in life, to answer that question. You know, struggle is just part of the struggle. And so you have to kind of sit down and figure out, you know, what it is that you enjoy doing, what it is that you think you might want to do, and you kind of chart your own course. And so there will be no perfect moment. There's no magic. There's no shortcuts to it. You just have to kind of figure out as you're taking courses, what subject, what topics, what you enjoy doing, what you enjoy learning, and you kind of build your career around that. And as you struggle, you will find ways to get around those obstacles. And as you build that dream, you sit down and figure out what you need to do to accomplish that dream. And there are always going to be hurdles. There are always going to be obstacles. But as you go, you build confidence, you build a foundation, you build a support system, and that's how you get to where you're trying to get to.
I agree. One of the things I always emphasize in my classes, be true to your education, and your education will be true to you. So if you think you're shortchanging or cutting around the corner, those things don't work. If there was a magical pill that you could just take and you'd be the smartest person in the world, then most of us would have it. But you're going to have to put in the elbow grease and work hard. But once you work hard and you achieve the things that you want, this is a lifetime achievement. No one can take it away from you. So I strongly encourage students, fight for it. Fight for it. Some people said, one student used to say, I have a fire desire.
Recording.
So, get that fire, get that desire. It'll pay off in the end. I know this generation tend to be short-sighted. If they don't see the light at the end of the tunnel immediately, then they're not willing to invest too much energy and effort. But you got to believe that it's there and put all your efforts there. It'll happen for you.
I think not coming from a STEM degree, if you are taking cell biology, it could be a little bit more challenging. I had classmates when I was in dental school that came from non-STEM degrees, and they had a harder time because this information, it's a lot more and more complicated, especially if it's brand new to you. It'll take more time to learn it, but you have to put in the time. It's all about time. You have to put in a little bit more time and study harder, repeat it. For me, Dr. Rayner's class, the cell biology class, the way he taught that class was in sync with my way of learning. That was one of the classes that I always remember and go back to, like how easy it was for me to learn that information. But again, for you that you are struggling with that class, find a way, because some people can study with noises and doing things at the same time. Others, like Dr. Price mentioned, you just have to, either sit down and listen, or you can have to visualize and see things. So you have to find out how and what type of learning style you like best or works best for you. That way you can start using that style and, pretty much moving forward, using the style of learning that you need to use in order to learn what, throughout your career. You have to figure out who you are as far as a student and use that style of learning.
And I just want to say, Dr. Morales, I appreciated Dr. Morales and a number of you, Stephanie, when you were in my class. But the thing that touched me most about Dr. Morales is that he told me one day in lab, he said, Dr. Rayner, I came to this country on a raft. My father and I, and it was dark. The raft was small. The water, the raft was, going back and forth, water splash. They didn't even know if they were going to make it to Florida. And I said, a person with that type of will, this class is nothing. I said, this young man is going to go far. And it took me a long time to just even understand the challenges. And I still don't know all the challenges that were involved in that trip to the United States. But I know one thing, that's that fire and that determination. They obviously were very tired of the conditions that they were faced in Cuba, and they risked it all, not knowing if they were going to make it. And so I'm not going to make it that, but I'm just amazed by that story. I've had, I know good stories for most of you because I taught most of you. I've seen Dr. Price's journey. Dr. Anthony Landon Barbell got a story. Dr. Parker definitely has a story. And I think the core of the stories that you all would tell is the will to succeed and perseverance. Those are the two common things. Dr. Whitehead also impressed me with the 4.0. He worked in the lab. He was an independent lab worker. I was just so proud of all of our students. These students work hard. And today I hear students saying, Dr. Rayner, you're too hard, you're too hard, you're too hard. I said, believe it or not, I'm not as hard as I used to be. Because my students, I said, you talk to them. And that's why I wanted some of them to ask questions to you. Now I have just, I don't want to say watered down a lot of it, but just believe that it is nowhere near as challenging. But at the same time, I do provide the core instructions that make my students competitive whenever they go anywhere. If you're talking about cell biology, I don't care if you are talking with a student at Harvard, Yale, Stanford, you can intelligently defend the concepts of biology. And that's what our goal is, because whenever you go in life, people don't give you special treatment because you came from Fayetteville State University. They don't give you special treatment. You're out there in the middle of thousands of other people competing against the same job, people who will challenge your knowledge, and I can go on and on. So I'm not going to make this about me today because it's about you. Students, continue to ask questions, good questions.
I would like to add on to that because life is hard.
Mm-hmm.
And everything we learn in college at FSU is not just to allow you to be able to compete scholastically or professionally. It's what allows you to, it helps you to navigate through life, because there are going to be challenges. And what you have to do in life is to figure out how to navigate those challenges and be successful. I remember, I did well in school. I studied the way I studied. I did have study groups. But I remember when I went to optometry school, I figured I was going to study the same way I studied in undergrad. And then I met this joker named pharmacology. And he said, you better pump your brakes because you're not as good as you thought you were. I remember I got my first in my life, and I realized that I couldn't study the same way for pharmacology. Because people have been saying you need to find out which method you need to study, but you might have to have a different method for each class. Just like in life, you might have to have a different method to navigate through a different part of life. So again, take advantage of the resources that you have in undergrad because it can change your life.
I want Don Edford to speak because he was a former student of RISE, and he'll tell you where he went after he left the RISE program.
Can everybody hear me? Hey everybody, my name is Don Everett. I am a former graduate student at Fayetteville State University with a bachelor's in chemistry. And after I left, after I graduated FSU, I then transitioned into a post-bac academic career at Harvard Medical School. So to make a long story short, I'm doing my post-bac at Harvard Medical School at the moment.
Nice.
How do you like the program?
So the program overall is a very excellent program. I would say it's very, very demanding. Yes, but overall, I feel like everything that I learned at FSU have properly prepared me for this moment. So it wasn't too hard of a transition, but overall, I would say that it is it is very rewarding to know that even coming from an HBCU, you can still transfer and transition to an Ivy League and still to be able to compete academically with your peers. So that is a good thing.
Very good. I just want to let everyone know we're winding down. We're going to have a discussion for about 5 more minutes, and then we're going to recognize some of our visitors, and then we're going to close. So students, if you have any questions, let's get those questions out there. We have about 5 more minutes. And also make sure that everyone register. I put the link in the chat. Let me know if I need to put it in there as well again, but please register so we'll know who came and you have your contact information. And we will be doing drawings from the attendees for some major prizes.
Dr. Rayner, if I may, I would like to reemphasize something that you mentioned to the students, because I think it is an area that we often forget as we pursue the academic endeavors. One thing that, when you're young, people say you think you're immortal, but if you're going to pursue any type of graduate professional studies, no matter what, profession or what topic, what career, some point in life, you will run into some hurdles. People just happen to meet those hurdles at certain points in life, different points in life. But what you need to do as you study and you become that A student, B student, C+, whatever type of student, just keep in mind that you need to build a spiritual foundation, because when you get into graduate studies, they're very intense, and you find yourself trying to keep up with the courses. I know in veterinary school, it's a very intensive program at Ohio State. Again, it was for me, being the only African-American in the class, out of about 133 students. Sometimes it was alienating, sometimes it was isolating. So I still had to pick some type of friend to have that foundation. So as you go, even though you can do the work academically, you must also understand at some point in life, even after you finish medical school, graduate school, law school, whatever you chose to do in life, that you're still going to have some hurdles. I mean, I just come off a too busy, very stressful week. I'm a solo veterinarian, but at this point I know how to roll with it. But I also got on my bike Thursday afternoon and rode around the neighborhood. So, and then you have to, spiritually enlighten yourself to prepare, because you will have those days. Not every day will be a good day. And not every course will be an A grade. And so you get in a professional program, as the doctor just indicated, you might have to take that C and move on. You're still going to be called doctor. Thank you.
Just a quick comment, piggybacking on that. Be able to live with adversity. Adversity is necessary. Do not shy away from it. It hurts. It's uncomfortable, but welcome it. It's necessary for your learning.
I've come to the realization that the reward you get for this challenge is the next challenge. And you should just welcome it. Thank God for getting out of that previous event and getting into something new. There's growth there, there's opportunity. Yes, it doesn't feel good, it's not fun. But everyone on this panel, this is what we signed up for. We're in service to our community, to our people. We are the people that have been the chosen few, the selected, who can do this, who can handle it, to whom much is given, much is required, right? So we can handle this. We don't run out of the fire, we run into the fire, and we're okay. We're trained, we're educated. Doc, what you were talking about being easy on the students, it wasn't fun, but any departure from that would hinder future growth, opportunities, and also basically derail the future challenges. I used to watch Andre. I mean, he didn't know I was watching him, even now, because he was focused and he was doing things that he suffered just like we suffered. And so, there's opportunity for you to see people going through it with you together. and you can share those experiences, like Larry was saying, in study groups. But we're all going through something, but we're all ready for the challenge. We've all been prepared. And so, don't think of it as suffering, think of it as opportunity.
Okay, students, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry, Dr. Rayner. I just wanted to say that, we've kind of hinted around about it, but it's a continuous learning thing, okay? You're never going to be done learning. There's always more to learn, whatever field you're in. In your career, you may need to reinvent yourself to some degree. When I finished my surgery residency in 2004, the program I went to, we didn't do a lot of minimally invasive surgery, doing surgery through small incisions. And so I felt this was hindering my career. So in 2012, I left the job that I had, very secure job that I had, and took a big pay cut to become a fellow again, to do a year working basically for other people, and to learn how to do more minimally invasive surgeries, fixing hernias and all these things through little incisions. And so that enabled me to do much more as far as surgical variety. It actually, income-wise, significantly boosted that as well, and my marketability. And so again, 10 years on from that, I'm still reaping the benefits from taking a year to basically take a 2/3 pay cut to go back and work for somebody else, be a fellow. And so sometimes you have to do that sort of thing. Currently, I'm going back to school, again, trying to essentially add arrows to the quiver. We want to maybe do some business things. And so I don't have enough financial training. And so I'm taking classes with Harvard Business School online, trying to better myself. I'm into a class now on finance, and I'm figuring out that, hey, I actually can grasp these concepts. And so again, you have to be willing to continue to learn, challenge yourself, and not be afraid of being a little uncomfortable. So again, you just got to keep being ready for the fight.
Thank you, Dr. Jesse. We're actually out of time, but I do want to allow students to remain after the program. I'm going to run the PowerPoint presentation again, so that if you want to make some contacts, Bronco Connect, you can. So that's about a 10-minute presentation. But we're going to now recognize some of the individuals who are here. Of course, you've met the panel, but I wanted to introduce you to Kenneth Fleming, who is the son of Dr. Fleming. Would you like to share some words, sir?
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much, Dr. Rayner. I guess I have two things I want to say. My first comment is, wow. I'm always so impressed to participate in these virtual meetings and hear about my mother. It makes me proud to see the impact she has had on numerous students. And I know that she's proud because she talks about it. So I want to thank all of you all for participating and keeping her name alive. I have a couple of funny stories. I did not graduate from Fayetteville State, but probably similarly to most of you all, I felt like I did. I grew up on the campus. Speaking of animal development, I didn't take the class, but I feel like I participated in the class because I used to go pick up the chicks with my mom. I used to help her incubate those. And I've always heard these stories about this animal development class and how hard it was. So I feel your pain. The other thing I would say is that some of the comments that really resonated with me is the standard that my mother set. And it's kind of interesting because what I'm hearing is no different than how she was at home. She set a standard for us. And so you all almost feel like, Kendrick kindred siblings of mine, because you're saying some of the same things that I experienced from her and thought of her as well. I'm a graduate of Hampton Institute, which is now Hampton University, in 1987. And my mother always, she still jokes about this and why I think she thinks of you all of her children in a way, and any future students who come through the Department of the Children. She always talks about how neither one of her sons went into a science field, which always disappointed her. And so you all have that one up on me, that you all had that experience with her, but she has always said that I could never get my kids to go into a science field, and she always was disappointed in that. So I really feel like you all are part of us, and she feels that way as well. I do want to bring you greetings from her. She was very disappointed that she could not participate today. She asked me to thank all of you all. She is so proud of all of you all and all of your accomplishments. And she wanted me to tell you that she will make sure that she makes the next one. But she did say that she was very disappointed and really wanted to share with you how much she appreciates what you all are doing and how proud she is of all of you all. It is really amazing to me to hear some of the stories from you all. Some of you all I've met before on previous calls. But again, all I can say, Dr. Rayner, is wow. And I want to thank you for your efforts in putting us together and keeping us alive. I think it's very important. Again, you know, I have to say, everything you all say about her I already knew, because she's my mother. She's a great woman. She wants me to let you know she's doing fine health-wise. She really misses FSU. She's living up here with me now in Winston-Salem, but she does miss the interaction. I still, get her mail for her. She still gets her science magazines. She still stays connected, and hopefully next time she can participate with us. So again, I want to thank all of you all for participating and taking the time. It means so much to me and my family, all of us, to know the impact that she has had on all of your lives. So thank you.
Thank you so much. And I want to just thank all the panelists that came out. We got something special for you, so make sure you leave us your contact information. I do have your contact information, but please complete the registration form. Did everyone see the link to complete the form? It's in the chat. Please complete this. Very short. And thank Fayetteville State, thank the Department of Biological and Forensic Sciences, and all the students and faculty that contribute to this, and all of our sponsors. So I just want to end this with the slideshow. I know some of you are ready to go, but just take a moment and just look at the slideshow, because someone you told me that it's got stuck a few minutes ago. So let's just, oh, that's where it got stuck too. So Janae is there at John Hopkins as a faculty member. Dr. Booker couldn't make it today. Dr. Michael Smith, whom you've heard from today. My classmate, Larry Porty. Dr. Moses couldn't make it today. Ms. Dawn McGee, would you like to say something?
Thank you for inviting me. I was actually in another chapter meeting. I'm sorry I am late, and I'm sorry I didn't update my profile. I'm currently in the Department of Biological and Forensic Sciences at Fayetteville State University, and I serve as a research specialist as well as lab manager. and an adjunct instructor for general zoology. So if anybody needs to get in contact with me, I'm still at Fayetteville State, and my email address is dmcgee@uncfsu.edu. Like I said, thank you so much, and I hope you guys enjoyed the Dr. Valeria P. Fleming Roundup.
Thank you so
Rayner,
much. Yes.
Dr. Rayner, it's Ken. I wanted to make one comment. I'm sorry I didn't make to Dr. Jesse. I am a retired executive senior vice president for Wachovia. I retired a few years back, and I want to applaud you for your efforts to decipher the financial part of business. I think that's a great avenue for you and for any medical professional or any other profession to really understand the business side of what you do. So I just wanted to applaud you for making that effort to take that time to go back and put the other ammunition in your tool belt, and it's really impressive that you've done that. So,
Thank you.
Okay. Are there any last words? I would like someone to pray us out if there are no other comments to be made. Do we have a volunteer? Would you like to do us the honor, Kenneth?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Would you like to do the honor of praying us out
I'll be glad
as we
to.
close?
I'll be glad to. If you bow our heads, please. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for these great students that have participated today, and also the panelists who've taken the time out of the busy schedule to add advice and mentorship to those students. We thank you for the life of Dr. Fleming, my mother, and the lives that she has impacted at Fayetteville State and beyond. We ask that you wrap your arms around all of these attendees, give us all the strength and hope and the knowledge and the continued mentorship to help these young kids in today's activities. We ask these things in your name, and we look forward to getting back together again for this great, great event. In God's name we pray. Amen.
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 And this concludes our program for this year. Thank you, everyone, for coming out. Thank you for your contributions. You will be hearing from me.
Thank you so much, everybody.
All right. Good afternoon,
everybody.
Take care.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.